Hooked with subscribe. Reminder number 1. People say betrayal hurts most when it comes from the one you trust blindly, but what if the betrayal comes from the person you built your entire world around? What if the woman you loved, protected, and believed in, was the one slowly robbing you without ever touching your wallet? Today's story returns at the end with a twist that shook the entire world. Before we begin, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Goodness Hub Stories, because this one will leave you stunned. Story plain paragraph, 1500 words. Ethan Cross was not born a billionaire, but he became one through sheer grit, relentless work, and a heart that always remained soft despite the storms he survived. His empire, Cross Tech Global, stretched across continents, but Ethan himself was a quiet man, humble, almost painfully soft-spoken. That softness was both his strength and his weakness. He believed in people too easily. He forgave too quickly, and perhaps that was why he fell so hard for Serena. Serena Hart was a woman no one could ignore. Beautiful, elegant, and dangerously confident, she carried herself like someone who had already won every game before it began. She met Ethan at a charity gala, one he attended reluctantly, pushed by his board. Serena walked in shining like a diamond, and Ethan, who rarely looked up from his spreadsheets, looked at her and forgot the world existed. She smiled at him once, and that was all it took. Within months, they were inseparable. Within a year, they were married. At first, everything felt perfect. Serena filled his lonely mansion with laughter. She told him he worked too hard, reminded him to live, to breathe, to feel life beyond quarterly reports. She made him believe that he finally had a family, a partner, a soulmate. But somewhere in the shadows of those perfect moments, tiny cracks were already forming, cracks Ethan was too blind, or too in love, to see. It started with unusual suggestions, Serena encouraging him to put certain assets under her management, to reduce stress, recommending financial managers who were more loyal to her than him, directing him toward philanthropic projects she curated. Ethan saw it all as her way of helping. He adored her confidence and trusted her judgment. And when she smiled and said, "Let me take care of things, Ethan, you've taken care of enough," he believed her. But Serena wasn't taking care of anything, she was taking control. Quietly, meticulously, she moved assets into shell companies Ethan didn't know existed. She built networks behind his back, forged signatures with access she should never have had, and positioned herself as the silent owner of everything he'd built. Ethan had no idea, he only saw her as the woman who kissed him goodnight and asked if he wanted tea in the morning. It all unraveled on a Tuesday, a simple, ordinary Tuesday that started with Ethan rushing to the office and ended with his world collapsing. His CFO barged into his office with panic written across his face. "Sir, there's been massive unauthorized transfers. Hundreds of millions, and the signatures, they match yours." Ethan frowned, confused. There must be a mistake. But it wasn't. Page after page, transaction after transaction, all pointed to a single truth. Someone had stolen close to $1 billion from his accounts, and every digital trail led back to the person who had access to his secure authorization, his wife. At first, Ethan refused to believe it. He defended her, convinced there was a misunderstanding. He went home early, hoping to talk to Serena. But when he entered the mansion, he noticed something he had never seen before: emptiness. Her dresses were gone, jewelry cases missing, documents no longer in their drawers. Serena hadn't been attacked, she hadn't been kidnapped, she had left, and she took nearly everything with her. On the dining table, where she used to leave him little notes decorated with hearts, there was a single envelope. Ethan opened it with trembling hands. The letter wasn't an apology. It wasn't regret, it wasn't even emotional. It was cold. "Ethan, you're a good man, too good. That's why this was easy. You never questioned anything, never suspected a thing. You were so desperate to be loved that you handed me the keys to everything you own. Don't look for me, I'm starting a new life, one I deserve." Serena. The words sliced through him sharper than any betrayal he could have imagined. His knees buckled, but he didn't cry. Not then, not yet. He simply sat in the chair where she used to sip her morning coffee and let the silence suffocate him. The world found out within days. Media exploded with headlines. Billionaire scammed by his own wife. Paparazzi swarmed his buildings. Stockholders panicked. Companies withdrew partnerships. His empire began to shake. But Ethan remained silent. His lawyers wanted to chase Serena, freeze assets, launch global investigations. His board demanded press conferences. His advisors begged him to fight back publicly. But Ethan ignored them all. People thought he was broken. That he'd fallen into depression. That he was too embarrassed to face the world. They were wrong. Ethan wasn't broken, he was learning. He spent week after week studying every detail of what Serena did. Not with anger, but with clarity. He didn't want revenge in the traditional sense. He didn't want her arrested, humiliated, or dragged through courtrooms. He wanted something else, something deeper. He wanted to understand why a person chooses betrayal over love. Months passed, and Ethan rebuilt himself. Quietly, calmly, smarter than ever, he restructured his company, fired compromised managers, hired new cybersecurity teams, and created charitable foundations focusing on financial literacy for women who had been victims of fraud, not perpetrators but victims. He turned his suffering into a mission the world could stand behind. Then came the day Serena least expected, the day Ethan finally made his move, the move that shocked the entire world. Instead of exposing her, instead of hunting her, Ethan announced a live global conference titled, "What Betrayal Taught Me." Millions tuned in, Serena did too, from her hidden luxury villa overseas. Standing on stage, Ethan didn't point fingers. He didn't show evidence. He didn't even mention her name. He simply told the world, when someone steals from you, they take money. But when someone betrays you, they take pieces of your soul. I lost both, but instead of sinking, I chose to rise. Then he announced something no one saw coming. I am launching a $2 billion global program to help people who have been financially betrayed rebuild their lives. Not through revenge, but through empowerment. Let the world take what it wants from me, I will give back 10 times more. The world erupted. News outlets called him the billionaire with the biggest heart. Social media flooded with admiration. Stock prices soared. Investors returned. Ethan rebuilt everything, and more. And Serena, she watched, realizing that the man she tried to destroy had become greater, more respected, and more powerful than ever. She had stolen his money, but he had gained something she could never buy, global love. Rumor says she tried to return, tried to apologize, even attempted to negotiate for safety when international agencies began tracking the companies she used. Ethan never sought revenge, but justice followed her on its own. Ethan didn't take her calls. He didn't need to. He had already won, not by fighting her, but by transforming the pain she caused into a legacy that helped millions. People expected drama, lawsuits, broken hearts, but Ethan delivered something far more shocking. Grace, forgiveness, and a future brighter than the past she tried to steal. Subscribe reminder number 2 after story end. If this story touched your heart and surprised you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Goodness Hub Stories for more emotional stories that inspire, heal, and surprise every time.